Hey, welcome back. It's Trivia Tuesday. It happens to be week 10, and I've had the chance to do some reading and research for these questions, and some of them might be a little tougher than normal, but we'll see. Let's just get going. So, my first question is kind of a weird one, and it requires a little bit of background on it. So, let's go back to 1994 in Europe, and the Swedish military for quite some time has been picking up these weird clicking sounds that are happening underwater that sounded to them a little bit like Russian submarine sounds, and these sounds were near this Swedish military base. So the Swedish military sends this formal letter basically to Russia saying, hey, knock it off. Russia is like, we're offended. We haven't been spying on you this time. We weren't even anywhere near that Swedish base. There's no way that one of our submarines is over there. And so they kept looking into it and trying to figure out what was going on. And finally, some scientists who, they'd been working in the area and they figured it out. The strange clicking noise was not coming from Russian submarines. Now, what I want to know is, where was that sound coming from? I'll tell you right now that it was not an inanimate object and it was something living. But people weren't making that noise, no. And it's not going to be a whale or a seal or any type of sea mammal. If you want to keep guessing, you can. But I'm going to tell you right now that it was a type of fish called herring. And they make this sound, the strange clicking sound that they heard, was actually the sound of a school of herring passing by while passing gas. That's right, the Swedish Navy almost caused an international incident over fish farts. Super mature. So that's kind of a goofy question to start off with. Let's get a little more serious. So now I want to know, which state was the very first to make the 4th of July or Independence Day an official holiday? I'll start you off with a hint because there are 50 states, so I'm going to narrow it down just a little bit. This state happened to be one of the original 13 colonies, so that narrows it down to a choice of 13. This means you kind of need to focus on the East Coast. Any ideas? It's not New York, and last week's question when I talked about New York and Ellis Island, it's also not New Jersey. So those are two you can strike off your list. Any other guesses? The southern states like Virginia or the Carolinas or Georgia, those are also off. Nope, not there. All right, one last clue. And if my dad hasn't already guessed this one, this clue is going to give it away for him. This state is the home to the first official battle of the Revolutionary War. Did you just guess it? The state that first made July 4th or Independence Day an official holiday was Massachusetts. I'm going to do a literary question next. This one might be kind of a tough one if you aren't familiar with this author or this story. But I want to know, in what series of stories does Inspector Lestrade appear? This one is kind of tough. Inspector Lestrade is not the main character, but the main character often deals with him. This series of stories is extremely famous, and it's often called after the main character. So that's kind of what I want to know. It's nothing by Edgar Allan Poe, though that would be a great guess. I will tell you these stories are written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Does that help to know that? Did you guess it? I'll tell you if you didn't. Inspector Lestrade is portrayed as a mildly inept police inspector in the Sherlock Holmes mysteries. This next question is for one of my nieces. Everyone who knows me knows I'm obsessed with the Olympics. And I want to know what Olympic sport features a house and a sheet. Any ideas? I'll narrow it down to the Winter Olympics so that you can kind of focus on one side of things. So what might have a house and a sheet? It's not hockey. It's not ski jumping or the slalom or anything with skis. No, not snowboarding either. It's not bobsled. I'll give you another hint. There are rocks involved. Did that just totally open it up for you? The Olympic sport played on a sheet where you try to slide a rock into the house is called curling. It may sound like kind of an odd sport, but it's so fun to watch. Trust me, I love it. Okay, so maybe not everybody will love it, but I do. All right, are you ready for our phobia of the week? I want to know what scolionophobia is a fear of. If this is your legitimate fear, then you might be super happy right now because you don't have to confront this fear. I, on the other hand, don't fear this thing. I love it. What do you think? No, scolionophobia is not related to scoliosis at all. I thought that at first too. So someone with scolionophobia might even avoid our distance learning. On the other hand, right now you might be realizing that you don't have scolionophobia because you actually miss this thing a lot. Any guesses? It's not shopping or eating out at restaurants or gatherings. If you want to keep guessing, you can pause, but I'm going to tell you that scolionophobia is a fear of school. Clearly, I don't fear school. And I've heard from a number of you that before this all kind of happened, you thought that maybe you didn't like school, but now you kind of miss it. And you realize that maybe you liked it more than you realized. Maybe one good thing about our distance learning is that it's making you less disgusted by school. I, for one, wish that we could go to school and see one another and just, have regular class. But until that's possible, we'll just keep doing Trivia Tuesday, and I'll keep giving you guys videos. Until next week, stay safe and healthy. Send me your ideas for questions or topics, and I'll see you later.